Welcome to this morning. Welcome everyone to this circle as we honor National Aboriginal Day here on this day. And we join together with friends that we've had for many years. We join together with new people we've never met. And together we make up community. And we'll be this community for the next time with one another as we celebrate, as we honor, as we hear stories, as we share our intentions and pray with one another, and as we sing. So let's join into this circle now with some words of song as we join with one another. As we gather here today, we do so in this wonderful place and on this wonderful land. And we celebrate and give gratitude for all that has transpired on this land for all these many years. Both those that we're proud to speak of in story and those that we have some shame in speaking of in story. We gather on this land that has belonged to so many and that has been shared by so many. But we also gather on this land that has been taken, that has had a history of violence and a history of cultural difficulty. So we gather here knowing all of this and knowing that we can gather on this land and honor it, honor the traditional people who have lived on this land for generations, and honor too our own ancestors, knowing that we are all one, and that as we move into the future, we celebrate that oneness and honor it with our hopes of relationship and reconciliation. So as we join together, it is with gratitude that we invite Gail Simonson to speak some of our roots and our interconnectedness, to give us, as Gail is so wonderful at doing, a brief history lesson in our own congregation's history, in our community, in this space we call home. Thank you, Gail.
As we acknowledge the 30th anniversary of the United Church's apology to Indigenous people, we remember the concluding words of then moderator, Right Reverend Bob Smith. We ask you to forgive us and to walk together with us in the Spirit of Christ so that our peoples may be blessed and God's creation healed. Mrs. Edith Memnook, a representative of the All Native Circle Conference, responded, in the new spirit of this apology, this apology has created, let us unite our hearts and minds in the wholeness of life that the Great Spirit has given us. By adopting the name of Ojibwe missionary Henry Bird Steinhauer, this congregation has long tried to honor this part of our past. Shawanagasik was a student in the Methodist school system in Eastern Canada. The story is that he so impressed a philanthropist in Philadelphia while on a fundraising tour that the man offered to fund his education if he adopted the name of the man's deceased son. However, the boy insisted on retaining his clan name, Bird. Henry Bird Steinhauer excelled in studies in Latin, Greek, and theology. He first worked at Methodist missions around Hudson Bay, where he translated much of the Bible into Cree syllabics so that Native people could read it in their own language. In 1854, he was ordained, and with his wife, Jessie Joyful, and their family, they set out for the West, establishing a mission settlement and school at Whitefish Lake. He tried to incorporate Native spirituality into his work, drawing parallels between biblical stories and Native legends. He honored the traditional way of life of the people among whom he worked, comparing them to the nomadic Jews of the Old Testament. Steiner was the first Methodist to establish a settlement in what is now Alberta. He remained here for the rest of his life. The more renowned McDougall family came a few years later and were put in charge of Western missions. Prior to the signing of Treaty 6, Henry Bird made sure that his people were prepared, that they understood what the treaty was and what they should ask for. Unfortunately, they felt that they had been lied to afterwards. Henry Bird died December 30th, 1884. A few months later, when Chief Pecan refused to lead his people into the Northwest Rebellion, he explained that he chose peace because I owe a great debt to my old missionary who recently left us, Mr. Steinhauer. Stuart Steinhauer, the great-great-grandson who produced the sculpture titled Thunderbird Eagle that we have in front of the church, has written, "Indigenous knowledge is deeply linked to the immediate environment and travels from the great mystery to the humble learner along what in modern times is called a spiritual pathway. Powerful forces, deeply understood, surround us now as much as ever in our brief history on this fragile planet." He continues, over millennia, Indigenous knowledge seekers found translation and explanation for these forces in the natural world all around them. Following the spiritual pathway step by step in the present moment, they were able to maintain a harmony and balance that we in the modern world can only wonder at. Henry Bird was one of those Indigenous knowledge seekers, and it is impossible to encapsulate his essence in a few minutes, but we honor it by remembering him and his people and the work he did on behalf of the original people of Alberta. He was a man of peace, and so we too seek a spiritual pathway that may help to bring peace and reconciliation in a troubled world. So let's echo the words of Edith Mamuk in her acceptance and acknowledgement of the United Church apology. Let us unite our hearts and minds in the wholeness of life that the Great Spirit has given us.
We come from the east where the sun brings the freshness of a new day and a spirit of spring, growth, and newness.
We come from the south, where water flows, where life bursts forth and flourishes under the strength of the summer's sun.
We come from the west, where the sun sets on the earth's horizon, calling us to the quiet curve of evening, the place and time of rest.
We come from the north, where the strong wind binds us in community, where we gather in the spirit of wisdom and the experience of our elders.
Our first wisdom reading is from Ephesians, chapter 4, verses 29 to 30. Keep a close watch over the words you speak, for our mouths can be full of worthless and empty talk that will bring death to others. Let your words be full of wisdom and goodwill that will give you strength and bring healing to the ones who hear you. In this way, the Creator's Spirit will not be grieved. These are words from the Jesus tradition translated by and for First Nations across North America, or Turtle Island. Maybe.
I've been honored to give the reading on the Code of Ethics for our people, which is adapted from the Sacred Tree, a Four Worlds Development Project. 1. Each morning upon arising and each evening before sleeping, give thanks for the life within you and for all life, for the good things the Creator has given you and others, and for the opportunity to grow a little more each day. Consider your thoughts and actions of the past day and seek for the courage and strength to be a better person. Seek for the things that will benefit everyone. 2. Respect. Respect means to feel and show honor or esteem for someone or something, to consider the well-being of, or to treat someone or something with deference or courtesy. Showing respect is a basic law of life. 3. Treat every person from the tiniest child to the oldest elder with respect at all times. Show deep respect for the beliefs and religions of others. Listen with courtesy to what others say, even if you feel that what they are saying is worthless. Listen with your heart. 4. Be truthful at all times and under all conditions. 5. Always treat your guests with honor and consideration. Give of your best food, your best blankets, the best part of your house, and your best service to your guests. 6. The hurt of one is the hurt of all. The honor of one is the honor of all. 7. Receive strangers and outsiders with a loving heart and as members of the human family. 8. All the races and tribes in the world are like the different colored flowers of one meadow. All are beautiful. As children of the Creator, they must all be respected. 9. To serve others, to be of some use to family, community, nation, or world is one of the main purposes for which human beings have been created. Do not fill yourself with your own affairs and your own important task. True happiness comes only to those who dedicate their lives to the service of others. 10. Observe moderation and balance in all things. 11. Know that those things that lead to your well-being and those things that lead to your destruction. 12. Listen to and follow the guidance given to your heart. Expect guidance to come in many forms: in prayer, in dreams, in times of quiet solitude, and in the words and deeds of the elders, the wise elders and friends. These words of guidance are from the Aboriginal tradition, all my relations.
As one we walk this earth together. As one we sing to her our song.
I'd like to introduce Elsie Paul to you, although many of you have met her, and she has come to our Tuesday Connection, and she has often been here. Come on up, Elsie. You're in the wing. Elsie was born on the Saddle Lake settlement near Lac La Biche. Her mother was Cree, her father was Métis. Both parents grew up in residential schools. Elsie started school at age 11. She quickly learned English as she was not allowed to speak her native language. At age 16, her uncle, Stan Daniel, got her a job as a housekeeper in Edmonton. She's lived here ever since. Elsie has described her early life as quite erratic and at times dysfunctional, having been raised by parents who did not have experience of a functional home. So she herself did not have much experience of a functional home life. However, through her connection with the United Church and the Bissell Center, she got her life together and then took over parenting 4 grandchildren and 5 great-grandchildren. Elsie now teaches native crafts at the Elizabeth Fry Society. She believes that the elders must help to restore and to teach native culture. 2 years ago, Elsie started a Kukum group, a group of grandmothers who came together once a week to support each other, to do crafts, and to feast together. This is where the idea of a Kukum campout arose, which Elsie is going to tell you about. Elsie, we welcome you, and we have a gift, a traditional gift of tobacco for you, which I neglected to put into my hand, but I will get it.
Is it on? All right, first of all, I just want to say good morning, everyone, and I'm very, very grateful for today that we have this opportunity to share a bit of our culture. I mean, this is just a little part of it. Before I go any further, though, I want to wish all the fathers a very happy Father's Day, you know, because we cannot forget the men. They're very, very important part of our lives, you know. And even though women were the leaders before European time, we still honored our men because there was no woman's lib in our culture, you know, so because they have a very special role. They're our protectors, you know, and they provided the food and protected us and everything. So they had a very special role, and we do not forget that. So they're very, very special. Without men, we would not exist. And of course, you know, the men cannot exist without women. So I'm very grateful. Happy Father's Day to each and every one of you. You know, so, however, I'm very, very grateful that that we have this opportunity. And like I did not know who the Creator, as I told you before when I spoke here. I didn't know who he was because I didn't know anything like that, you know. But the United Church started coming to the reserve, and that's how I got introduced to the Creator.
And later on, when I went on my journey, I discovered that just goes to show, it's reminding me not to be long-winded, because I can talk and talk forever. However, stop that for a minute. No. So I just want to say a couple of things. When Anne was phoning me and I was talking to some of the women, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? And we didn't have the child here right away, so I want to thank Arlene for coming through for us, doing the reading from the East. She sure showed bravery, just on a spur of the moment, here she was, having to do this. And then the rest of the Kokums, I invited them to come here. We have a Maori Kokum from New Zealand who belongs to our group, And I just want to acknowledge Jacqueline. She has where is she anyway? She has a degree in BBM. She's Nat's best bannock maker. She brings her bannock to our Kokum group, and it's so delicious, So we just really honor her in our group, However, I know the show must go on, and I know you guys time everything. Us, we don't. So we never had watches. It'll happen when it's supposed to happen, However, we're in this modern world, not Aboriginal world. We have to respect your time, So, however, but before we go any further, I'm wearing this bracelet also, honoring the murdered and missing women, because it's the young children, the young people who are doing the education process for us now. Is this thing going on as I'm talking? Oh my gosh. I can talk about that later. Thank you so much. Anyway, when we went over to, I've been doing these cultural rediscovery camps for quite a while now, and then we went to Smoky Lake. And so this was, we did several things for the whole weekend. And the first thing that we done was traditional native food preparation. And we made this smoke rack, and my son killed the moose. And there's a certain way how to, cut the moose meat for the smoke rack, and a certain way to fillet the fish. So our grandmothers all pitched in. We did all that together. And we smoked it all weekend. And on the last day, we had this nice smoked fish and nice smoked meat and everything. It's part of that truth and reconciliation. We even lost that opportunity to prepare our own food, So now Kokum Society is reclaiming these traditional roles, And so now we're going back to these things, and we have to teach our children how these things are done. This is a very mini size. If you had a camp out of 1,500 people, these would be real big, But we were just doing it for the weekend. And this is Juliette. I don't know where she is right now, but she bought us nice wood from the bush, for the smoke rack. And so we had fun doing this in part of truth and reconciliation. And it's really important that we continue this education and this awareness in every which way that we can, because this is our way, the traditional way, that we used to. We had to learn how to preserve the food because we didn't have any fridges. So we learned how to preserve, dry meat, dry berries, et cetera, even pemmican. I don't say pemmican, that's not the way to say it. It's made sort of from this process, the dry meat and all of that. And so, so we had a lot of activities that weekend. This was part of the workshop, traditional native food preparation. And it's kind of a smoky job when you have to do this, Steadily, that smoke has to keep going, to be ready for the weekend, even for our meal. So, and we had a lot of good helpers, and we did teepee teaching also, and all those poles, they all traditions and values, it's part of the teachings for the children also. And so that teepee was so humongous. They say the teepee belongs to the woman, and it was the women that put the teepee up, they dismantled it, et cetera. But this teepee, I was glad I wasn't putting it up. It was really big and heavy, So I was not very traditional that day, I let everybody else, the men did a lot of good work there. And so even I heard that all the contents and everything belonged to a woman in a teepee, you know. And if she was not, if the man wasn't putting out, you know, and if the woman wasn't that satisfied, she would pack his belongings outside the teepee, and he would see them, and he'd have to leave. No ifs or buts, no argument, no money, no divorce. That was instant divorce, like somebody was telling me that. Now, so it might have been so much nicer, nobody would have to be yelling and fighting. You just go, you know. So therefore, but all those poles, even these things all have a meaning. We'd be here all day teaching with each and every one of the workshops. There's a lot of information that's there, you know. So, and this is just a little fun thing that I do with my traditional parenting moss bag teaching. And I always tell them he's the spitting image of his dad, the little curious George. And we were so lucky, and we have this elder grandma, she belongs to our Pauline Johnson, the one that done your reading. She works at the university, and she's an elder from down east, and she was with us at our camp. And so I'm very grateful to her too for doing on the spur of the moment reading the readings, because she didn't know that was going to happen. So you'll see some of these stuff being displayed over there, like porcupine quills, and we were never allowed to waste anything. What you couldn't eat, you turned into ornamentation or tools or ceremonial stuff. These are fish scale, you know, for fish scale art. It came from a white fish. You'll see them on a table later on. So I did that teaching one time for the women and children. And there's the rattle. And of course, the red willow is there, and red willow is medicine. All that is very symbolic. And even the rocks, there's a teaching about rocks. And one of the teachings is to have endurance like the rock. You know, they're very spiritual. Everything is spiritual. This is moose hair tufting, you know. And so you'll see it over there too. And so some of these were just about a lost art at one time. They're coming back, you know. So, and this is made out of sweetgrass, this turtle. It's more for Easterly tribes. There's all meanings with that turtle. So we had so much fun at camp, you know. And I just want to thank each and every one of you that donated the money for our camp. You know, it was worthwhile. Part of that truth and reconciliation did happen, a lot of healing. And one of our kokum, she's the oldest there, she said, I thought I was an Indian, but I didn't know this. And then another comment I heard was, I wasn't feeling good, but I feel real good now. You know, all that stuff, you know, is a process of healing, a process of connecting with one another. This, what we're doing, I got up and danced with you guys, and I didn't even know what I was doing. It was, you know, but I danced because that's what we need to do now. We need to connect with one another. We need to talk to each other. We need to dance with one another, you know. And we are on this land here, Papa's land, you know. And so we're all one, as the song says, you know. So because when we start appreciating each other and learning who we're all about, each other's culture, we begin to appreciate one another. And when, you know what, we do away with discrimination because we begin to appreciate one another's gifts, you know. And so, am I running out of time, Mayan? No? Anyway, there's a display over here. Feel free after to ask questions. And what we're going to, we had a function, I coordinated Elizabeth Fry Society Aboriginal Days the other day. And I see these Aboriginal Day celebrations year after year. And so I never see the acknowledgement of children too much. And I thought, well, my theme is going to be the power of children, you know. So that's what we did at Elizabeth Fry Society, and that's where I retired from. And all our entertainers were under 8 years old. These were kids that were drummers, singers, and dancers. And the grandmother, I'm so happy, on the other side of my great-grandchildren, there's a grandmother over there, and she's here today. And she has to race to a function after this. But she totally immerses all her grandchildren in the drumming, in the dancing, and the singing. Both grandparents do that. And these kids are so talented. And you know, if we provide that journey for our children, a healthy journey like that, chances are they're not going to get confused when they grow up. You know, they'll know the path, what to follow. You know, so they're very, very lucky to have these grandparents. And I want to introduce to Carol over there in the back, the grandmother of all. She has many grandchildren, and she teaches them total culture, drumming and singing. And these were some of the children that were there. And they entertained the people at Elizabeth Fry Society. And that little boy is going to sing us a song today. I was going to sing the drum song, but for me, I acknowledge children. They're more important than us. So that little boy will sing. Anne will tell me when the little boy is supposed to sing, you know, and that'll be the last of everything what I do, and I'm lending him my drum today. And what better world it is when our children begin teaching others about their culture at that little age. And these kids have a lot of self-esteem, okay? So thank you so much. So I guess we'll get, am I getting off your agenda, Han? No? Oh, yeah, okay, I love talking. You know what, I'm intergenerational residential school. I never had a voice. I was so victimized and I was soul murdered maybe at a very young age, as Bradshaw calls it, you know. I couldn't speak, I couldn't talk, I couldn't do anything. I was always so afraid, I was so victimized and stuff like that. But when I became a born-again Indian, and I started learning about my culture, listening to the elders, going to ceremonies, and learning all about my Métis culture, because I was born on a Métis settlement, and we went to my mom's reserve at 2 years old, you know, and that's where I stayed till 2 weeks after I turned 16. Then I've been here in the city ever since. So I acknowledge both of Métis culture and Indigenous culture, and I teach both to my grandchildren. And I never want our Métis people to be forgotten, because that's a very important part of my life too, you know. So therefore, I always include that. No matter what I'm doing, I include both cultures. I teach both, and I'm going to be buying a fiddle from Alfie Myers. I went to see him yesterday, and I was telling him, I says, it's not acceptable for a Métis not to be able to dance and play fiddle before they die. I'm going to learn how to play the fiddle, you know. So I'm going to be purchasing a fiddle. So I'm going to learn how to play Red River Jig before I pass away, you know. So yeah, yesterday we had so much fun, and it was the children that did the teaching, the healing for our women on the street, you know, women in conflict with the law. And I'm seeing more and more young people doing the teaching, talking and performing. And that's who we were before. We were not victimized in any way, shape, or form. We were healthy. We weren't perfect, you know. And we'll never be perfect, because the Creator is the only one that's perfect. I may be damn good, but I'm not but I'm not perfect, and I'm not ever going to be perfect. But I hope not to be this way tomorrow. I hope to be better tomorrow, okay? So therefore, okay? Thank you very much.
I would like to, on behalf of Tuesday Connection, to present the Kukum Group with a painting. And this painting is of two kukums on the lakeside by a teepee, and they're doing a cookout. And I thought that would fit your camp.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. That's so beautiful. Holy. That picture is so beautiful. And when we get our funding and we get our office someday, you know, when I say, I don't say if, I don't believe in ifs. When we get our funding, wherever that's going to come from, I'll hang that right there. That's going to belong to Kukum Ksewatsun Society. And today I have several of those kukums. I want to honor them. They make me look good. And And you know, they did all their skirts a week ago, last Monday, was it? We were making skirts and everything like that. So they were able to wear them for the women yesterday at Elizabeth Fry Society. And there we are, we got our skirts, and they're just beautiful crafters. We got all kinds of professional women, you know, nurses and teachers and people working at the university. I don't quite know what your role is, but she works at the university. So she works at the big house, you know. Because usually when I'm teaching, I said, you know, when we're not culturalized, we wallow in all that pain. And first, you know, group homes, you know, and residential school group homes and provincial jails, we're getting prepared for the big house. But she has a different big house. So it's a positive big house, you know. Thank you so much. Feel free to look at the stuff after. And then I brought some bannock too. I wasn't quite awake when I was making it, so if it was about 5 o'clock this morning. So if it's a little dry or crooked or whatever, just have a bannock feast. Okay, thank you. No, the little boy. So we have this little boy. Well, like I said, I was going to do the closing song, but the little boy, he's just incredible. So he'll come and do that song he did yesterday for Elizabeth Fry Society, but I'll have to get the drum for him. Okay, all right. Thank you so much. And you know, I was going to get our elder to. And I'm going to get her to come and say the prayer before the little boy sings. We have our Kokum elder to come. So I have my tobacco that I have to give her. So, okay, you can go up there.
My name is Eva. I'm going to say the prayer in my language. That's Cree. Tawinan, Tavatugnan, Saginan, Wamina, Napewok, Napisak, Squawok, Squisak, Kakoi Sinwok, Asawim, Wakasaki Hatchik. Hey.
Oh my goodness, show business is driving me crazy. I don't know, I had tobacco for the elder, and here I don't know where I put it. And Teresa said I had it. Who knows where I have it? But I will give it to her after anyway. So these are the little children that perform for us. And this is Carol and her grandchildren. And they have to rush out of here because they're doing another performance, you know. So this little boy is going to sing for you, and she's a shawl dancer. And I think she's just going to support him, standing beside him. She may dance. Who knows what these kids will do, eh? Do you want to hold this for him? Okay, this is Carol. That's Noah there, and that's Jules behind you.
This is Noah, and that's Jules. Noah's been doing this since he was born. He's also a traditional dancer. She's a fancy shawl dancer. Promoting them, I guess, is like, and never giving up on your grandkids, your kids, because you want them to succeed in life without alcohol or drugs. I myself never had a problem with it ever. I've tried it once, but I never will again. But here's Noah, and ready? Come over here. Over there. Oh, okay. There's other. Just stand over there, Noah.
Quit standing by the door, hit the floor, young and old girls. I'm gonna rock you. Tonight, I'm gonna light the door. I'm gonna rock you. Ayo, hey, hey, oh. Ayo, hey, 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 ayo, hey, 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 come on, everyone, get up, dance, don't be shy tonight. Quit standing by the door, hit the floor, young and old girls. I'm gonna rock you. Hey, oh, hey, hey, oh.
We are together this day in renewed commitment to our relationships with each other and all of creation. May we now share a prayer written by the first Aboriginal moderator of the United Church of Canada, Stan McKay. May we offer these words that strengthen our intentions and our spirits. We come with thanksgiving for our very breath, the warmth of the sun, and the sustaining waters, for life all around us, plants, soft grasses, and sheltering trees, for the ones that crawl, those that swim, and those that fly, for the four-legged and the two-legged, all of our creations. We celebrate the diversity in creation as reflected in the four winds of four directions. We especially honor the many peoples with their many gifts for understanding our shared life on earth. We strive to develop the 7 sacred teachings: respect, love, honesty, courage, humility, wisdom, truth. These teachings enable us to live in harmony with ourselves, with our neighbors, and all created earth. May it be so. Amen.
This piece of music was written by Barbara, or arranged by Barbara Soletto. It's one of 2 Native American songs. And in the beginning of the music, there is a call to the ancient mother. And as the music progresses, it is sort of an inclusiveness of all voices, of all ages. Ancient mother, I hear you calling. Ancient mother, I hear your song. Ancient mother, I hear your laughter. Ancient mother, I taste your tears.
We go with gratitude for the great heritage we share with one another. We go strengthened for the good and difficult work of reconciliation. We go with great hope for a good way of relationship and connection to our land and all that live in it. We go with peace, knowing that the Great Spirit is alive in all things and all people goes with us. We are welcome to sing our last song from where we are or to join together in a circle around the outside of the room, joining in song, joining in community, joining in our hope for good relationships and a hopeful tomorrow.